Hi there if you're watching live, and hello if you're watching the replay later. I'm Maddie Harvey. I'm a knitwear designer and knitting teacher. I'm based in Edinburgh in the UK, and this is my weekly Thursday live video that I call Knits and Cake for Breakfast. And they are a mixture of a kind of chat about behind the scenes stuff and a little either knitting tips and tricks or a little tutorial. And they're called Knits and Cake for Breakfast because before the coronavirus pandemic I was hosting a weekly in-person knit night on a Wednesday night that I would always bake for, and then on a Thursday morning I would eat some of the leftover cake for my breakfast. So I've been trying to keep up the routine of baking every week, and instead of having my in-person knit night, I'm here on a Thursday morning kind of sharing it with you. So yeah, that's the reason behind the title. And I am going to actually do things a little bit differently today. I'm going to do the kind of behind the scenes and show you what I've been making as this live video, and then the little tutorial I'm going to pre-record that and post that separately a little bit later on. So if you're watching live, just look out for that later, and if you're watching the replay, just have a look either on my grid, or if you're watching on Instagram, or if you're on YouTube, it'll be in the tutorial section. I'm going to be showing you a really neat way to help with the little holes that you get in the underarms of top-down jumpers. So when you're knitting a top-down jumper or sweater, you quite often get little holes either side of the cast-on stitches in the underarm area. So I'm going to show you two things that you can do to help minimize that, and that will be available later on. Okay, so this morning I've been really busy. I've been trying out things for the online knit retreat that I am running on Sunday the 6th of June, and I always, in all the people that come along to that event, get sent a goodie bag, and part of the goodie bag I have in the past sent recipes for things that I like to make. So this time, because it's going to be June, and it's been a bit colder actually this spring in the UK, so it might not be quite strawberry season, but usually often June we get our British and Scottish strawberries. So I've been making a little like a little mini Victoria sponge, so just a Victoria sponge but made into fairy cakes, buns, cupcakes, whatever you call them, individual ones, and then I've put some whipped cream and some strawberry inside. So that's the little recipe that I'm going to send to everybody who's coming to the knit retreat day. Yum. It just means summer to me, that kind of Victoria sponge cream cake with strawberries. So I decided I would have a little trial of that. And then the other thing that I've made myself this morning is a very, very fancy looking, I would call it a mocktail. So it's a bit like a cocktail, but it's got no alcohol in it. I mean, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. So, but this is made from a special blend of green tea from the Etiquette tea company, which the retreat goers will get in their goodie bag. They'll get the recipe to make this mocktail and the green tea that they need, and it's got basil and cucumber and a bit of apple juice and tonic water. So I don't have a cocktail shaker, so I didn't have my cocktail shaker out, but what I do have is one of those tall smoothie kind of cups that's got a lid on the top with a sort of almost like a little strainer thing. I guess if you make smoothies, which I don't, I think it came free with something, the sort of filtery bit at the top catches all the stuff. So I used that as the cocktail shaker, and that worked well. Oh, it's really good, and I've put loads of ice in the top, so it's really refreshing. So that's another thing that retreat attendees will get, the recipe and the special green tea that they need in their goodie bag. So I thought I'd better try it out. Yeah, it's really nice. It was a good one. So that's what I've been making this morning. I feel very productive already. My kitchen is a bomb site, but I'll deal with that later. So I wanted to show you a couple of things that I've been working on this week. One thing that I cast on yesterday was a version of my bombshell shawl. I don't know if you'll be able to see that very well. I don't have my original sample because it is with Jess of Ginger Twist at her shop, but it's knitted in Ginger Twist yarn, and it's knitted in Sweet Flax, which is an alpaca linen and silk blend. So I wanted to make another one so that I had one myself, and it's a big side to side shawl. It's a trapezium shape, which is a bit like a parallelogram. So a parallelogram is like that, but a trapezium is like that at both sides, at the ends. So it's kind of rectangular, but the ends are slanted like that. And it's got this textured pattern, slip stitches, and it sort of has a wave, and then it's got these polka dots. So I didn't have any of the Sweet Flax yarn that I used for the original sample in my stash, but I did have some of this. This is Ginger's hand-dyed Splendor 4-ply, which is I think it's merino silk blend, so it's 50-50 merino silk, and the colourway is called Selkie, and I bought this ages ago at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival to use for something, and I didn't use it. So I thought this would make a great bombshell shawl, because the whole idea of the shawl is it's inspired by kind of 1950s patterning, polka dots and things, and also that iconic scene in the 7-Year Itch where Marilyn Monroe is standing over the grate of the subway, and the wind from the subway blows up her skirt, and it's about feeling that when you're really hot in the summer, feeling that kind of cool breeze. So I wanted to knit a sample in something that would be a bit cooler for the summer, so that's why I picked the silk, 50% silk. So it's coming out really nicely. I finished the first chart, so I've got my first polka dot here, which is really fun to do because you sort of see it emerging. It's very, very pleasing. But when I got to the end of the first chart, I thought, this is looking a bit big from what I remember, because the pattern only came out last year, so it's still kind of fresh in my mind. I better just check my gauge. Because I just used the 4mm needles that I'd used for the original sample, and you know what, when I checked my gauge, it was really out. It was about 4 stitches out. I'm just looking to double check, but yeah, it was about 4 stitches out. So it's supposed to be 20 stitches before blocking, and I had about 16, 17. So I think I'm going to have to rip all this out. And that just goes to show you that that's, the same knitter, the same pattern, the same needles, but slightly different yarn, and your gauge can change quite a lot. And I think part of it is to do because this yarn is quite kind of, it's not slippery, but it's very soft, and it does, it's sort of like you hold it, or at least I do. I seem to be holding it more loosely. And I just think maybe I just need to go down at least 1 needle size. I might even do a little garter stitch swatch, because the gauge is in garter stitch, so I could do a little swatch in a 3.5mm needle and just see what that gets me, and then decide if I want to restart on the 3.75 or the 3.5. So there you go, lesson learnt. I am a little bit annoyed, but then that's my own fault. I should have checked. I should have thought of that before, but never mind. Yeah, it was nice to work through it though, because it's been a long time since I knitted it, so I'd forgotten how enjoyable it was to knit. So there you are. You see, even the designer of a pattern messes up sometimes. And then the other shawl I've been working on, now I've started a row here. I've stopped in the middle of a row, which is something that I tell when I teach kids. I'd say to them, don't stop in the middle of the row. This is a shawl that I'm working on for the retreat, for the online retreat day, because the guest workshop tutor is Leona from Rusty Ferret Yarns, and she's going to be doing a yarn dyeing workshop with us in the afternoon. So the online knit retreat day is, we have a bit of a kind of knit and natter session in the morning. So small groups, it's all on Zoom, small group knit and natters, just to have a chat with people, because I think people are missing the connection of meeting other knitters at yarn festivals. So it's quite nice to be able to do that. And then we have a little bit of a lunch break where people are welcome to stay on the Zoom and chat, or come away from the screen and have their lunch. And then in the afternoon we're going to do a yarn dyeing workshop with Leona. So as part of the goodie bag, I've been designing this shawl. So we're going to dye, I've forgotten to bring them through with me, but we're going to dye 3 50-gram skeins of Blueface Leicester yarn, and they arrived this week. And what I forgot about them, undyed yarn, when you buy it, the skeins aren't wound or twisted, so I'm gonna have to do that before I send them all out to everybody. Anyway, so you're gonna get a pattern for the skeins that you dye, that's been designed especially for skeins, speckledy kind of skeins that might be they might, you know, we don't know how you don't know how the dyeing's gonna go. You're in good hands with Leona, but this pattern will blend the colours together. So I've just joined in, and I'm doing this in Leona's yarn, so I've just joined in this blue one, which was a limited edition one that Leona did last year. And then the other one that I've got in here is this lovely grey, which is part of her most recent little collection, which is, no, what's it? It's all about depression, and the colourway names are all kind of phrases to do with that. It's really, really inspiring, because, you know, it's all very well at the moment, people sort of jollying you along or whatever, but if you're just feeling depressed or you have depression, that's how you are, isn't it? And there's no amount of cajoling or anything that will you know, help you to get out of that in that way, in that sort of like superficially sort of platitude kind of way. Hopefully that makes sense. So these are the two colours, and then I've also got the paler grey that I started with. I've got a little bit of that to come back in at the beginning. Sorry, that was at the beginning, is going back in at the end. So that's the pattern for that, everybody who comes to the retreat will get that. So if you are interested in the retreat day, you can find a link for it in my Instagram profile, or if you go over to my website, which is Maddie Harvey Designs, then and you scroll down to the events link, that'll take you to the page where you can find out more and also book the tickets for that. And then don't forget, I'm going to put up a little tutorial later showing you about how to minimize underarm holes when you're knitting a top-down garment. And that is something that we go through in my Picking Up Stitches masterclass, which I'm going to be running next month. So the dates for that will be coming soon. That's been a really popular one, so I'm running it again in the middle of June. So if you want to know about that, and you're not on my mailing list, you can sign up there for that on the website too, maddieharveydesigns.com. Okay, well, I'll let you get on with your Thursday morning, and I'll be back next Thursday morning for the same again. Okay, bye.